Hey everybody, there are a ton of ways that you can follow us online. We've got our website, realnerdspodcast.com, that you can go to and you can read articles and find the podcast episodes there as well. If you like social media, you can follow us on Facebook at Real Nerds Podcast or on Twitter and Instagram at Real Nerds. You can also call us anytime and leave a voicemail at 720-6nerds5, and then we'll play your voicemail on the show. Thanks for listening. I hope you like us.
This is Real Nerds Podcast, and for 10 years, we have seen a new movie and podcasted our experience to the world. This week, it was Last Night in Soho. Stay tuned towards the end of the episode where we will recommend Last Night in Soho or not, play the trailer, and then spoil the film. We also talk about movies we've been watching, movie news, movies that you can purchase on physical media. We love movies.
Yes, we do.
We love movies. How about you?
Yeah. Now let's once more with feeling, guys. We got to get ready for the cheer team rally later this week. Something, jock, something.
This week, I am joined by longtime friend Brad.
What up?
We go back over 20 years, Brad.
That is a long time.
Yes. And longtime friend Zach.
I'm not your longtime friend. I'm your short-term friend.
No, is it 8 years now?
2013. Yeah, 8 years. Oh wow. Okay, never mind. Yeah, we are longtime friends.
Yeah.
You know what my indicator is, Ryan? If we're chatting with each other via text every week, like 2 to 3 times a week, going like, "Did you see this great Cary Grant picture, or did you see this Randolph Scott thing?" Then I'm like, "Yeah, we're friends, longtime friends."
Yeah. But I usually at this time in the summer, I go around town with Brad, but I don't give a fuck about Brad this week. Because I
don't give a fuck about Brad any time of the day. So
damn.
But I have a couple things. One, stay tuned at the beginning of the year. So we always, the last episode we do for the year, or I guess kind of the first episode we do for the year, is a recap of our favorite films of the year we call Filmsplosion 2021. Mm-hmm. And then stay tuned because Real Nerds is going to still be here, but I'm going to relaunch it in a new format podcast. So it's going to still be a podcast, obviously, but I'm going to change the format because we've been doing it for 10 years. So I'm going to freshen it up. You know, it's like marriage. I've been married for 10 years. It's time to kick the old lady to the curb. Get a new model.
Is this a reboot situation where we're going to reboot it for positive reasons, but old time fans are going to get super pissed that we changed everything for something inclusive and progressive, and then they start kicking the shit out of us on Reddit?
Oh man, I would love to see those tweets. Yeah. This new Real Nerds format is a disgrace.
That'd be awesome. I love hate mail. It's my favorite kind of mail.
This format's too woke.
As we get closer,
Zach used to love Jack Benny, and now he likes Fred Allen. I don't fucking understand this world anymore.
As we get closer to relaunching it, I will drop more of what we're going to do. But yeah, stay tuned for that.
Reviewing the movie at the beginning of the episode, that's way too radical.
Yeah. Way too. You won't even know. It's going to blow your freaking mind, bruh.
Mm-hmm. We're doing a quiz show every week now, guys.
But we were fortunate enough to get invited to Fan Expo this year again, kind of last minute. And
thank you to Bruce for setting that up for us.
Setting that up. That was nice. I was only able to do one day because it happened so fast that it was hard for me to get off work. And my one day was really fun. I was supposed to do 3 panels, and the first one I wasn't worried about because it was a longtime friend of podcast, Brian Cummings, voice actor extraordinaire. Yep. And so I wasn't worried about that one. In fact, we started walking down and he says, "Oh no, I forgot my scripts." And I said, oh, "Okay, well, I'll run and get them." So I got my workout in because I ran up and down stairs. And when I got back to the panel room, it was about a minute after the panel was supposed to start. And he already introduced everything and was talking. I didn't say a single word that whole panel.
Yeah.
It was great. Mm-hmm. And then they scheduled my other two panels at the same time. And one was indie film, and another was the voice actor for Master Chief. And I asked Bruce which one he'd rather have me do. You know, the independent film had about 6 people on the panel. So he said, "Oh, you do the Master Chief one." So I said, "Okay." So I went down there, and while I was there, the guy who plays Master Chief, super nice guy, by the way, named Steve Downs. I was behind the stage in like the green room area, and he came in with somebody else. And I said, "Hey, they asked me to do this panel. Do you already have a moderator?" And Mr. Downs said, "I do." And so I talked to this other guy that flew in from Dallas to moderate panels for Fan Expo. So I only had to do one panel. And on that panel, I didn't say a single word. And I sat down with an interview with Comic Book Men's Ming Chen, which you can find now on realnerdspodcast.com, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to brag, but it is a really good interview.
It is. I was there.
Brad was there.
A huge shout out to Ming Chen for just approaching our booth and asking us to do that, because like I said, we just went there expecting to moderate some panels and just sit in a booth for 3 days, and did not expect to get interviews from anybody. And it was really cool of him to reach out to us and make that happen. Yeah.
And he was cool because talking to him beforehand, he says, "Yeah, man, it's all about content. I'll give you content. It's cool." And in a way, we gave him content too. So
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I ordered a commissioned artwork from Chad Hardin, who is the artist for Harley Quinn. It's what he's really known for. I think he's about 5 years on Harley. And I picked Cetrion from Mortal Kombat. And which is really the only reason I'm bringing this up is because I'm not rich. I don't know if you guys know this. I live a humble life.
You promised me a diamond ring, damn it.
I know, but it doesn't shine. So I did a black and white, like full body sketch, and throughout the show, because I was only there for one day, and so I checked with him once. Yeah, I'll try to get it done. And then at the end of the show, I said, "Well," I talked to him. I says, "Well, if you're not done, it's cool. I'll just have Brad pick it up tomorrow." So at the end of the day, Brad came with me over there, because I was going to introduce him if it didn't get done, and he had it done. And he did a full color Cetrion, and he said that she was such a cool character that he wanted to make it cool. So I got a really sweet picture. In fact, it's so cool. My wife thinks it's beautiful. So
very
win
nice.
For me. Yeah, I had a good time. Zach, how was your experience at Fan Expo?
Mine was interesting. So full disclosure, one of our listeners on the show, Malia, is part of the reason I was able to attend the days that I did. So thank you very much, Malia. I got there on Friday night or Friday afternoon. And honestly, if I'm being completely honest with everybody here, everything was kind of in a daze for me because October's been a heavy month. So my brain wasn't processing every single thing that was happening, even though everything that was happening was incredibly cool. So I moderated 3 panels, 2 of them on Friday night. And they were with people that were friends of Brian's. So that was really good icebreaker, to get to know them. Brian, you know how Brian and I interact. If we'll mention one Golden Age celebrity and we'll just go on. He'll tell me stories for hours. In fact, he told me a bunch over the weekend. So we got to their panel, and the first one was the process of animation. And on the panel was Greg Guler, who's a character designer for Phineas and Ferb, amongst other Disney shows and other cartoons.
Oh yeah,
And
sorry. I have a funny story about him. So they were in the booth next to us. Really nice guys.
Yeah.
And for $50, Greg Guller will sketch you a character.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, hey, because he worked on Darkwing Duck. And
he did, yeah.
So I'm sure a lot of people ask him for Darkwing. And so I said, hey, do you have a sketch spot open? He says, yeah, what do you want? And I said, I want Quacker Jack from Darkwing Duck. And remember, he worked on the show. He told me, who? So I had to bring up a picture. And my Quacker Jack is really cool. So he couldn't remember who Quacker Jack was.
you know, it's funny, like in talking with them, like they've worked on so many shows.
Oh yeah, no, I don't blame him. It's just, I just thought it was funny.
Yeah, I will tell you though. So the other guy we had on was Adrian Ropp, who was a storyboard artist for Disney and is now the head of story over at Warner Brothers. And he's been working on one of the Harry Potter video games. And he did work on the Velveteen Rabbit on Netflix. And Adrian is one of the sweetest people I've ever met in my life, as is Greg. And their panel, much like yours, Ryan, Brian started talking and was doing the introduction to it. And then after he stopped talking, I waited for 2 beats and I said, so that was Brian Cummings, voice artist extraordinaire. And then I introduced the entire panel and then we went through it. And the first panel wrapped up on time. The second panel, which on the first panel, by the way, I don't want to drone on too long, I swear, guys, but we were talking about the process of animation and Greg was showing the model sheets for character consistency. And the way they were talking, it made it, I was getting the impression like, well, maybe like the process is streamlined somehow. And I was curious to find out from them, and I really wish I'd recorded this, but I wanted to know how in the digital era where everything's a little bit more streamlined, how often do characters get redesigned mid-seasons or mid-shows, mid-run, to keep up with either changing appearance or smoothed out appearance, or adjusted voice performance? Because like on The Simpsons, Homer Simpson starts out sounding like Walter Matthau before he becomes the vocal presentation you know and love, and consequently the designs change over time. And so I was curious about that, and they explained that still happens, and they were going through how it still happens, and a lot of it ends up trending towards like what character ends up hitting accidentally, and going through that process. It was like if you wanted to learn about animation, it was like one of the best panels to be at. And we had a pretty packed room for 707, which is a pretty small room. We had a packed room, and most of those guys, most of the people left, but then some of the people stuck around, and then we got even more in for a career in animation panel with just Adrian and Greg. And I didn't have to ask them much. Those two went on their own lovely lecture about how to be in this business. And the only things that I was able to contribute were primarily just reaffirming a lot of their stories. They talked a lot about like not being afraid to fail and to take any job you can get. And it was kind of like very affirming to hear that like the people who want a career in that particular area have plenty of opportunities to do it, and they can still do it with ease. So it was like a very inspirational panel to hear. And I got a piece of art from Adrian, a print of Mickey from Fun and Fancy Free, and I really like his Mickey. I showed you a picture of it, Ryan. I really like his Mickey. It's very nice, and it seemingly has some of the same attitude that Mickey had in his earlier years. Like I just got the feel of an attitude about it. It's not the same streamlined appearance that Mickey has in the in Fun and Fancy Free itself. And also both of them are Jack Benny geeks along with Brian. So we all talked more than enough Jack Benny over there. And I brought on Sunday when I came back, I brought all my Benny books and showed them to him like a dork. So, but it was really cool to connect with all those guys. And Brian's panel on G.I. Joe Mindbender was awesome. There was, I wish there had been more people, but we all watched a G.I. Joe episode, which I don't think I've ever seen one in full ever. And it was a lot of fun. We did a Q&A afterwards, and we did a quiz, and I pulled out some G.I. Joe trivia that I was able to pull up prior. And
only one person answered a question correctly. So I tried to ask an even simpler question. And then finally, when none of the other people in there could answer it, I said, like, okay, well, we were talking about voice acting gigs earlier on in this panel. Let's see whose memory is the sharpest. What show did Brian work on prior to getting hired onto G.I. Joe? He brought it up in the panel earlier on. Dead silence. And I said, guys, anybody? And I was just like, it's the Pink Panther, guys. It's one of the Pink Panther specials where we're trying to get the Panther to talk. And so finally, to settle who would win this prized Funko Pop of Mindbender, I held a rock, paper, scissors contest on the floor of Comic-Con, or Fan Expo. So a lovely time had by all. And then the only other big real event that happened was I got to run into, you guys were hanging out with Ming. One of the guys at his booth, Barry McLean Jr., is somebody I interviewed for the Punk Rock Horror podcast for his comic Billy the Kid, which is a lovely looking comic. I've got an issue that I bought from the horror festival, and getting to reconnect with him was fun. Getting to see people I hadn't seen in a while was fun. So I really missed that environment, and I'm glad we're back in it. I don't know how, I mean, Ryan, did you feel that? Like, it felt good to be back in that kind of sphere.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it was way less stressful because I really had no expectations going in. And, Brad, how did you hold up? You really just sat at the booth the whole time.
Yeah, it was pretty boring just sitting there, I forgot the Square Reader on Friday, so I couldn't do any sales for our merch. And we didn't have the typical display, so it was less interesting to look at. But I had a lot of time to sit there and contemplate our presence. But talk to a few fans, which is good. Let people know we still exist. And
And we talked to Project Nerd, I believe it was. One of those guys from when you guys met them at 2015 Comic-Con.
Yeah, and Beyond the Trope was next to us. Talked to them for a bit.
Yeah, and CFVA was there, and Sterling came by and said hi on Friday, and Matt Willix came by and gave me a nice print of Claude Rains as the Invisible Man, so that's always welcome in my world.
Yeah, no, it was fun. You see all the people you recognize, and I had people come up to me and say, "Oh, you guys aren't doing interviews?" And but I had explained to them. I said, "Well, we didn't know 2 weeks ago we were even doing this because they had new criteria for media stuff. So I didn't know what was going on, and I mean, even someone like Brian Cummings, who actually is like a voice guy, he also had the same experience with it, where they're trying to keep it the same, but it's basically a merging of two, and they're working out the kinks. So hopefully in July we'll be there, and it'll be a lot of fun. And
we didn't even know, like, there was a point where we didn't even know if we actually had a booth because there's a mix up in our numbers. So and then it would just be a little irresponsible this year of all years to get people exhaling on mics for 3 days. So just imagine us air spraying down each mic after each person, at having people take off their masks. Just wasn't a good look.
Yeah. So hopefully next year we should be good to go. And
if you really want to be on the podcast, these are mostly Zoom chats anyway. So just email us and tell us you want to be on the show, and you can just come on any week. You don't have to wait till the con.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I met Bruce for the first time, by the way, at this con. In the 2 years that I went with you guys prior, I'd never met Bruce before.
Yeah, he filmed mine and Brian's panel.
Oh, nice. He came to Brian's Dr. Mindbender panel, and he gave me the hard drive for the episode we were about to watch, and I just coordinated with him. And Ryan, this is how I know that you trained me well on how to do this, because he was there on Friday, and I didn't know who he was. The only way that I realized who he was when he came in sporting his Pokemon suit jacket, which is really cool, by the way. And he said, "Hey, I watched you on Friday, and I really liked what you did. Thank you guys again for coming down." And I was like, all right, Ryan taught me exactly what to do properly. Like,
Yeah, just always remember, it's about the fans. It's not about us.
Yeah, no, I was like, it was like a big relief off my shoulders after 2 years of doing this in various capacities, where I'm just like, oh, good, I didn't fuck up.
Oh no, they wouldn't invite us back if we fucked up.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyways, lots of fun. Thanks everybody for coming out. We'll see you in July, and we'll have our full booth with the redesigned color scheme.
Well, same colors, different arrangement, and actually cool new just booth design in the works. So,
and also we've added a new feature for the next con where you get to vote and decide if I stay on the show or not. So,
we don't want to do that because we'll lose you.
My joke was going to be like, so I'm going to be campaigning really hard, and I'm going to sling mud at everybody.
Oh, I thought you were going to be like a caning.
Oh.
Like if you lose, we get to beat you with a cane.
I like that idea. I like that idea better because I can still be hanging out with you guys each week, but I'll just be very sore.
90s Singapore style.
Oh wow,
Nice.
that's harsh, and also wow, way to pull that reference out.
Hey,
and with that,
I'm almost 40.
Here's what's happening in the world of entertainment in a segment we call Movie News.
It's real news. Someday, Ryan, I want to merge Real Nerds and Ballyhoo and have us do a news segment from 40s News. We got a Lightyear trailer. In other news, there's a Lightyear movie coming out. It's about the hero that inspired the real Buzz Lightyear, his actual adventures as a space ranger, and Chris Evans is playing Buzz Lightyear. So
I think it's a fun idea for a movie.
Yeah, looks fun. Looks nice. I don't. It's funny. Like it's like any other Pixar trailer where I'm just kind of like, all right, I'll just wait until the movie comes out before I say anything else. So.
Oh yeah.
The trailers never do much for me. I don't know why, but we also got another trailer though. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Pixar trailers are never that like cool.
Yeah, no, they're marketed towards children, so which is what they're supposed to do. But we got another trailer though, the Book of Boba Fett. It looks cool.
Yeah. Gangsters in Star Wars. I'm down.
Yeah. And so is this the same guy or is this a new guy?
That's the dude who played him in Clone Wars, I think.
That's what I just wanted to double check. I didn't double check prior, but like if so, I'm glad they brought him back. But I also like the idea of gangsters in space. So, hey, I'm down with that. We've got Mandalorian vets Favreau, Dave Filoni, Robert Rodriguez, and Bryce Dallas Howard directing some episodes, and Ludwig Göransson will be returning to compose music. So keep an eye out for the Book of Boba Fett coming to you December 29th of this year. We were talking about voice artists earlier, Mr. Frost. We got to work with one, a working actor who gets asked to do voices for characters all across the gamut. And one of the things that I wish Hollywood would do is hire actual voice actors. But instead, it's easier to just get a celebrity, because Chris Pratt will be voicing yet another animated character. He will be voicing Garfield in a new animated Garfield movie. Now, this isn't anti-Chris Pratt by any means, but it was a reminder of just like, can't we get like a voice actor to just do this and not keep hiring a celebrity for this?
Well, in my mind, it's not Bill Murray. Mine's always the old Garfield Saturday morning cartoon where he's always, well, guess I'll get some lasagna.
Yeah, which is kind of like trending toward a Bill Murray impression anyway. I can't remember who did Garfield and Friends the voice for Garfield and Friends. Guess I'll have to look it up on Wikipedia.
Lorenzo Music.
Lorenzo Music. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, but I mean, regardless, we're getting another animated Garfield movie, and Chris Pratt will be the voice. It will have a script by David Reynolds, the writer of Finding Nemo, and director of Chicken Little, Mark Dindal, will be helming the project. And of course, the article that I pulled this up for had to remind me of the Bill Murray Garfield movie. And for that, I will shut this story off and move over to something cooler. There is some other casting news. Christopher Nolan is directing a World War II epic about the creation of the atom bomb called Oppenheimer. Cillian Murphy and Emily Blunt have already been attached to it. And now we are getting a certain Mr. Matt Damon, who appeared in Interstellar. And also, Ryan, Robert Downey Jr. is coming to the Nolan verse.
Hell yeah. They want to make a good movie.
Yeah. Dang right, motherfucker. I mean, it's it's listed as a drama, so I'm actually hoping it's a drama. And I hope there's no like weird twist where this is kind of like an alternate universe. I would just like a straightforward movie about J. Robert Oppenheimer and the Los Alamos project. So everybody keep an eye out for Robert Downey Jr. in a Christopher Nolan movie. Dune Part 1 made a good splash at the box office, enough for Legendary to greenlight Dune Part 2. And the release date is 2 years away from now, set for October 2023. And the sequel had been talked about in broad strokes. It was not confirmed that they would get a sequel, but now everything is a go for it. It is in early development as it stands. So congratulations to all you Dune fans. You're going to get yourself a part 2 and hopefully a part 3, according to Villeneuve's plans. So Ryan, here's a story for you. What would you say if I told you that Peacock lost $520 million?
It wouldn't surprise me because I have it and I've never watched it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It comes with like my Comcast subscription.
Yeah. No. So, it's a staggering number loss. Jeff Shell from NBC Universal said that everything on Peacock is heading in the right direction. And there's really nothing from a trajectory perspective that is any different from what it was last quarter. All metrics are pointed up. Our usage continues to be great. Our mix of users. So this was first reported by the Hollywood Reporter, and knowing that this happens amidst them trying out experiments like Halloween Kills and whatnot. Halloween Kills made a lot of money at the box office during pandemic time. And quite frankly, its opening is big even by pre-pandemic time for an R-rated horror movie. I don't know. I guess I wonder at a certain point how having individualized streaming services like these is even going to be a benefit anymore at that point. But
they're just going to cannibalize each other.
Yeah, but at the same time, I also don't want like there to be like only 3 big markets like Netflix, Amazon Prime carrying all the content, because then that becomes problematic too. So it's why I'm still going to buy Blu-rays, guys. And HBO Max isn't doing amazing either, but I mean, they're not. They have a revenue of $8.4 billion, and Comcast is losing like $500 million. So, I mean, here's hoping that they find a way to boost their stuff back up, but I don't know. And that's all I have for news today, guys. Unless anybody has anything else that they want to report.
Nope.
And I'm sorry.
Movies are coming out. Movies are coming out on Blu-ray. Here they are.
DVD releases and Blu-rays.
4K. Why did it have to be 4K? You can get Indiana Jones, the 4 movie collection in 4K.
Again.
What?
Again,
yes. It's being reissued. So if you didn't get it before, now's your chance.
I think the steelbooks are no longer Best Buy exclusive is what I saw.
Gotcha. So now you can get it whatever you want. Turning over to recent releases, Sony Pictures is putting out The Guns of Navarone from 1961 with Gregory Peck, David Niven, and Anthony Quinn. So you can pick that up in 4K if you should like to see that. If you are part of the Disney Movie Club, you can get Melody Time and Make My Music on Blu-ray for the first time. 2 music package features, both in the vein of trying to carry on the Fantasia experiment, only with, in the case of, I think Melody Time is more jazz oriented, if I'm remembering correctly, and Make My Music is all over the place. Or am I mixing the 2 up, Ryan?
They're fun.
They're fun, but I mean, like one is trended more towards the other. I know. I mean, I know Melody Time is the one that has Johnny Appleseed and it has Dennis Day playing Johnny Appleseed, which is why I remember it so lovingly. Paramount Classics is putting out The Sheik from 1921 with Rudolph Valentino. Ryan, this is the movie that made Rudolph Valentino.
It is. He died, I think, like 2 or 3 years after that.
Yes, he did. Let me describe the plot for people who don't know about this silent epic. By the way, it's directed by George Melford, who directed the Spanish version of Dracula in 1931. Forbidden desires and the dangers of a foreign land as Lady Diana is pursued and captured by the dashing Sheikh Ahmed, carried off and imprisoned in a luxurious desert hideaway palace. Days go by and Lady Diana is broken down by her own inner cravings. Only when she is set free and torn away from Sheikh Ahmed, that by sadistic desert bandits, does she realize her true love was a man she once feared most. Oh my God, Ryan, now that I read this side by side by thinking about it, it sounds like that 365 Days movie everybody was bitching about on Netflix.
I've seen that one. It's garbage.
Yeah. You know what may not be garbage?
Not the Sheik,
rewatching the Sheik
one.
Yeah. You might like the Sheik better. It's only 66 minutes and has Hollywood.
I read a review of it on Blu-ray.com. They said it was pretty good.
Yeah, no, it's a good movie. It's not my favorite silent movie by any stretch, but it's definitely got importance in the realm of how it built up Rudolph Valentino's legend. The report that I had last week of Randolph Scott collection coming out that week is not true. It's actually coming out this week from Mill Creek Entertainment. So I guess they just moved it around. But you can get 12 Randolph Scott Westerns, guys. You can't go wrong there. You can get the El Mariachi trilogy, which contains El Mariachi, Desperado, and Once Upon a Time in Mexico. Pick those all up on Blu-ray for a rockin' good time with a guitar case that can turn into a gun. The complete series of Sex and the City can be yours on Blu-ray as a new release. 6 seasons and 2 movies, guys. You can get all your Sex and the City in one glorious box. You can also get the complete MacGyver, featuring from 1985 to 1994, 7 seasons, guys. Can't go wrong there. Spider-Woman Strikes Back, featuring Gail Sondergaard. This is a not quite official, not really sequel to the Spider-Woman, the Sherlock Holmes mystery with Gail Sondergaard. That this is coming to you from Kino Lorber. You can also get from Kino Lorber The Mad Doctor with Basil Rathbone, Ellen Drew, and John Howard. And this is a good one. This is an interesting one. From Kino Lorber, you can get The Mystery of Edwin Drood from 1935 with Mr. Claude Rains. This is a film that was attempting to be the definitive answer to what actually happened at the end of The Mystery of Edwin Drood, which was Charles Dickens's famous last unfinished work before his passing. You can also get The Secret of the Blue Room from 1933, coming to you from Kino Lorber with Lionel Atwell, Gloria Stewart, Paul Lucas, Edward Arnold, and Onslow Stevens. Scream is coming to you on Blu-ray. I feel like that happened last week and they're just copying it over.
No, I got mine today. So
okay.
I don't know. I know they came out a couple weeks ago, but there's been some, like everything else, issue getting them to stores.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, now it is official. You can't deny it. You can now get Scream on Blu-ray again and on 4K. And last but not least, guys, Brad, you know what you're going to be picking up because I'm going to be picking it up too. 2021's Pig with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. What, are you gonna get it? I would imagine you'd want to get it.
Well, it's not a special package or anything, so I kind of feel like I don't have to get it on release day, but yeah.
I'm gonna get it and support them. But anyway,
I mean, I might eventually. Black Friday's coming up. Maybe it'll be on sale. I don't know.
Ooh, that is true. Maybe I should wait. We got to talk about a Black Friday video, by the way, Brad.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's new or Blu-rays.
Watching movies and shit is what we do. Literal shit. And the segment I call What You've Been Watching.
So, yeah, this is the stuff we've been watching.
Brad, what'd you watch this week?
A couple of new things, actually. Like I said last week, I'm not going to go into detail on chronicling every last little thing I did anymore. But I did go check out a movie called The Electrical Life of Louis Wayne, which, if you don't know who I think it was actually Louis Wayne. It's been like a week. He's mostly famous for these very whimsical cat paintings from the early 1900s in England. But the movie goes into everything you don't know about him, and co-stars Claire Foy, who is a governess who eventually becomes his wife, and sadly, shortly after they marry, she comes down with breast cancer and dies, and it spirals him into a long, long depression, which helps him, create his art in a perverse way. But the weird part is, the electrical life part of the title refers to a philosophy he has about electrical current that kind of runs through humanity and all life, and they've really touched very little on that concept for him in the movie, which I felt like probably benefited more. About a good first half of the movie feels like a silly romantic comedy, and then after the death, it just becomes a spiraling depression, unfocused, maybe on purpose creatively, given what's going on. And yeah, I thought it was interesting. I don't know if it's my favorite things of the year, but it's definitely well put together. Louis Wayne is played by Benedict Cumberbatch. I forgot to lead with that. But yeah, and then I also watched the 2021 Cat Film Festival, which is a kind of a virtual film festival where like a lot of like homemade YouTube cat movies are played, like in a collected show from actually New York. It's very specific, and they were okay this year. Nothing really interesting that stuck with me. I was a little disappointed. Nothing terribly creative. A couple animated ones which were fun, but that inspired me to run down the street and go see Dune in 4DX 3D. And so I checked that out, and it's a gorgeous film, really epic. Like every frame is a painting type thing. And I've never experienced anything Dune related before, did not know anything about the story. And that left me very unsatisfied at the end when it's basically half a movie, despite being almost 3 hours. So I'm looking forward to finding out in part 2 how this all shakes out. But yeah, interesting start. The 3D didn't play much into it. I didn't really notice anything that was like, wow, I'm glad this was 3D.
Probably a post-conversion job. I know they filmed it for IMAX, but I would highly doubt they filmed for 3D.
Yeah, I mean, it looked at 3D the whole time, but like nothing was like, wow, I'm glad they did this in 3D. I forget what else I watched recently that was like, okay, that made sense. Or what like added to it, and I forget what it was. It was really recent, but yeah, like I said, it's a beautiful looking movie. Like the first third of it is spent kind of explaining what the world is, very, very expositional. The second one develops the problem, and the third is really like a meandering, let's just watch these people escape the problem and end it before before the part 2. So yeah. And yeah, that's all I watched this week.
Zach?
All right. Well, I wrapped up my horror marathon, which capped out at 42. So I topped last year for myself.
Yeah, I guess I forgot to say at the beginning of the show, Ryan and I tied for the challenge. That wasn't really a challenge at all.
Yeah. Thanks for not telling me that this was all a big stunt, guys, because I took this seriously and committed to it.
No.
We were pretty clear for weeks that I think we even said that we were fake fighting with each other.
Well, fake fighting, but I thought you guys were actually trying to see who could top the list. So
to what end? Like, what would that accomplish?
Bragging rights.
Yeah. I guess, hey, Ryan, guess what? Because I watched 42 horror movies in 31 days. I'm a bigger fan of horror than you are.
You bastard.
Ryan watched 37 though, which is a funnier number.
It is true. 42 though is the answer to everything according to Hitchhikers. So I'm just saying. But anyway, I rewatched Freaks. Wonderful pre-code movie full of controversy. Watch at your own risk. I rewatched Dead of Night, which, Ryan, the more and more I watch that, the more I want you to watch it so that we could talk about it, even if it's not on mic, because I really like that movie and I really, really think you'll have fun with it. It's an anthology, so not every story will hit you exactly the way it might have hit me, but I think we could both agree on what the cream of the crop entry is in the anthology, because there's one story in particular that's just diabolical. And then I decided to watch something different for one of my horror selections, and my friend Shaden, who is part of my film club, she did some singing for a movie that her sister directed, so I decided to check it out, and Bingo Hell was fun. It's part of Blumhouse's television thing, and it's about a community that is kind of getting gentrified, and it's led by Adriana Barzara plays the lead, and she plays Lupita, and she's kind of like, she's somebody who helped clean up the neighborhood years ago, and she kind of holds a power over the entire neighborhood, but her power is being thrust away because the bingo hall where they hold their normal bingo games has been taken over by a rich, mysterious stranger played by Richard Brake. He plays Mr. Big, and he holds a bingo night where you can win untold sums of money, but it takes something from you in return. And I don't want to spoil it because I think people might have fun with this. It's got there's a part of me that will always love geezer exploitation. And a lot of this movie has to do with older people, like looking back on their lives and regretting certain decisions. And so I was like, oh man, this is right up my alley. And Bingo Hell has that in stride, but it also has a lot of kick-ass action, a lot of neon glow. There's some genuinely shocking moments in it, particularly near the last third of the movie. So it's really well put together. I liked the attitude and the style of it. So it's on Prime for free. You should check it out. I think you'll have fun with it. I want to check out more of Blumhouse television stuff now. Their Welcome to Blumhouse thing, because I'd like to see what other filmmakers are putting out with this. And I've watched for the first time The Uninvited from Criterion. Ryan, you and my pal Kev were pointing me towards this movie, and I'm so frustrated I hadn't seen it until this year. This movie's great. Ray Milland and his sister discover a big old abandoned house, and they decide to buy it for rather cheap. And they certainly soon discover that it's being haunted by two different forces who are at odds with the daughter of the person that sold it to them. And it's got a really great atmosphere to it. It certainly helps that Ray Milland is so damn lovable in this movie that, like, I care about every single person in that room, and especially him. And I don't want to spoil it, but Ryan, if you remember the ending of that movie correctly, he's kind of like an unofficial first Ghostbuster.
Yeah.
So it's kind of neat. But it's expertly directed. There's a sequel kind of thing, apparently, The Unseen or something like that, Ryan, that I need to check out, because that sounds awesome. So, but if you haven't seen The Uninvited, this is actually a cheap Criterion. You can get this for $29.99. And because the Barnes & Noble sale is going on now until the 29th, you can get it for $15 on Blu-ray, and it looks gorgeous. Yeah. And then did a Carpenter triple attack for the last couple of days with The Thing and The Fog and John Carpenter's Halloween, of course, on Halloween. And The Fog's still good. It's obviously it's the best movie of 1980, not even a question. And then The Thing, rewatching it. I've actually unintentionally throughout the month, I went through every iteration of The Thing in film form, and watching how different directors handle the material was very, very interesting. Carpenter obviously does it the best, but it was cool to get a different interpretation of that story from three different perspectives. one from a Howard Hawks and Christian Nyby that's obviously way off course, and then the Thing reboot prequel, which is sticking closer to Carpenter's vision and to the material, but goes in its own direction when it needs to. And then a last minute decision on Halloween night itself was to go to an 11 o'clock screening of Halloween Kills. And Ryan, that movie bumped up a star for me. And not only is it making my film explosion list, it's going to go up there pretty high. I loved it the first time I saw it, but this second screening really, really convinced me of how wonderful this film is and what it's pulling off as such a high wire act. It's everything about it was just working for me on all cylinders. I'm glad I took a little bit of time away from it before I went back. And it made me appreciate every side character that had connection to the first film and what their journey has been. And the whole idea of Lonnie Elam finally realizing, like, no, I'm not going to put my son in danger before he goes into Michael's house was like this small little moment of brilliance that I just really, really fucking enjoyed. So yeah, if you haven't seen Halloween Kills, be like everybody else and go see it in the movie theater. It's fucking dope. And that's all I watched. Oh, last thing I did was I re-listened to the War of the Worlds broadcast, as I do every October 30th. And that program has never lost its ability to get its hooks in me. There's something about listening to that show, knowing how old it is and knowing what the stories are behind it. There's something about getting lost in it. And the older I get, the more I appreciate the back half of the show where it's not a fake news report, where it's actually a narrative structured storytelling device going on. Because it's kind of the equivalent of in the 2005 movie where Tom Cruise is talking to Tim Robbins in the barn. But it's done from a more philosophical point of view and less story plot driven motivation. So yeah, it's wonderful. And that's all I watched this week, guys.
Yeah, me personally, I just finished up my Halloween thing. I don't think I mentioned Injustice a couple weeks ago. I can't remember. But yeah, it's okay. Yeah, I like Mortal Kombat more. So I was going to say a couple things about my Ryan Spectacular 21. My wife loves Rob Zombie's Halloween like a lot, and I own two versions of it. I have the Scream Factory deluxe set that has it in it. That's the unrated cut, and I have it's like not Mill Creek, but it's some Canadian version of Mill Creek. It's like some low end
Alliance Pictures or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah, Alliance, and so it has Rob Zombie's as a double feature, but they're the theatrical cuts that are actually kind of hard to find.
Oh,
and
can I borrow that, Ryan?
Yeah, for sure.
Sweet.
And so I come home and my wife's watching. I was like, "Oh, you're watching the theatrical cut of Halloween?" Because I haven't seen it in a really long time. And she said, "Yeah, I bought it on Amazon Prime." I'm like, what? So my wife bought a digital movie that I own 2 copies of. And she said, "I can't find it." And I said, "There's literally we have it's not a coffee table, but it's an end table next to her Papazon chair that the whole Halloween like box set is sitting on because I've been watching them this month." Freaking wives, man. Freaking wives.
Hey, Laura, this is Rob Zombie. Thank you for putting $2 extra in my pocket and buying me a coffee at Starbucks today.
So here's some random facts about Ryan Spectacular 21. Movies, 37.
In a
Total
row?
minutes.
Hey, try not to watch any movies on the way out to the parking lot.
Total minutes were 3,584, which translates to 59 hours. Days in October I missed watching a horror film was 0. And this is a weird random fact about my list, is 7 of the movies had the same runtime of 91 minutes.
That's eerie.
I know, it's weird, right?
Well, you were doing the random generator, right?
I was.
I think
So-
I think the random generator knew you were trying to squeeze things in a busy month.
Maybe it's like this guy needs to watch movies fast. But yeah, it was really bizarre that 91 minutes was the most. I guess I don't even know the right word. I guess
the most frequent
Yeah.
runtime for a horror
Yeah,
movie.
it was weird because I mean I saw things like Dawn of the Dead, which is 2 hours, and so is Interview with the Vampire is like 2 hours and 10 minutes. But yeah, 91 minutes. Weird.
Well, an hour and a half is the optimum screen time that movie producers go for.
Right.
Yeah.
They can, unless they're doing like a mega event like a Marvel or a Disney. But
Yeah, no, I get that, but I mean I had a lot that were like 86 minutes, 88 minutes. Not very many that were exactly the same time though. So I just thought it was kind of weird.
So I have a question. Did every one of us go the entire month with where every day we saw at least one movie?
No, I have a life. I mean, some days I watch 3, you know?
Okay. So you didn't do at minimum one a day.
I didn't think that was a condition of the contest.
Oh, okay. I thought it was.
I
Ryan,
thought
you...
actually I thought Brad that was one of your things for the contest.
1 a day.
Yeah.
I mean, like by the 20th, I backed off because I was like, I'm going to destroy Ryan if I keep going at this pace.
You son of a bitch.
So just remember that I held your fate in my hands.
So wait,
and I chose mercy.
But in choosing mercy, Brad, you disqualified yourself. So Brian, you and I followed the rules. So if this were a Saw game, we'd get out.
Yeah, we're going to play a game.
Congratulations on winning your non-game that had no rules.
Sweet.
No defined rules.
Of all the rules that didn't matter, mine mattered the most.
You know what, Ryan? I'm going to give you my 42 watches to your total. So 42 plus 37 equals more than Brad.
Yes. Sucker.
So now Ryan's the biggest horror fan again. Congratulations, buddy. I'm proud of you.
Finally.
Oh,
You do
darn.
understand.
I lost that title. I'm so bummed. What a loss in my life. I was not crowned horror king. How will I ever go on?
Yeah, you bitch ass motherfucker.
20 years. And I've desired to best Ryan in horror watching and take his crown. And I blew it. What a shame for me.
I'm
If
so
only-
much better.
If only people would identify me for my love of horror. Something I've long desired. This contest is stupid.
Brad,
anyone who
don't be upset because I tied you. Okay, we get it.
It's okay, Brad. I know you're not as cool as me. It's fine.
I would be embarrassed to fight for this title.
I'm not.
No,
Brian, I was happy to fight for this title. I was like, oh, I've got a secret formula here because I watch a lot of Golden Age movies and they're like 60 minutes. So.
If it was a contest between just Ryan and anyone else, I would be depressed that Ryan didn't win. That's how much I believe in him being defined for loving horror is to me.
Okay,
fair enough. Nice. This week on Real Nerds Podcast, guess we can be real again. We saw Last Night in Soho. Brad, did you recommend Last Night in Soho?
Yeah, I guess I actually saw it twice. The first time, like Baby Driver, there's just something that I didn't connect with in the movie. So, like visually, it's really impressive, but story-wise, I just didn't quite gel with it. I don't think it's terribly inventive. It's definitely like a nostalgia trip. And I read something or someone told me something that sort of turned me around in the effect that it's like I was kind of wondering like why this movie, like why is it special? And someone pointed out that it's kind of about how dangerous nostalgia is, more than just like a horror movie, and that helped me like it more. but not a whole lot. So I definitely appreciate that angle of it. So I would recommend it if you want to see like a modern older movie, because it definitely relies on being a bit derivative, and you've seen a lot of stuff you may have seen in horror movies before, slightly fresher.
Zach?
This is one of my favorite movies of the year, and for a lot of the reasons that Brad mentioned, because as this movie unfolded, I was like, oh yeah, it's about how nostalgia is not that wonderful when you get down to the nitty gritty of it. Because anytime you long to go to a different time in history, you suddenly realize how much of it is stemmed with the same problems we deal with today, but also just there's even more seedier things going on underneath the surface. I loved the film. I love the vibe of everything going on in it, from the visuals on down to the performances. I really liked watching Edgar Wright going into this straight horror mode, and really kind of putting a lot of lessons that he learned in the comedic efforts into this more straightforward narrative that has humorous moments, but more often than not, this film gets dark and it's not afraid to. So yeah, I highly recommend this movie. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I love this movie. The whole time I was watching it, I was saying, man, this movie just is really cool. I love the soundtrack. I love the way it's shot. And while there are some twists in it, I was never too surprised by them, but I did like it. And Tomlinson McKenzie is great. She stole my heart in Jojo Rabbit, and in this she's equally amazing. Here is the trailer for Last Night in Soho.
Baby, you don't know what you're saying.
What brings you down then?
I'm studying London College of Fashion.
Room is on the top floor.
It's perfect. I love it. If I could live any place and any time, I'd live here in London in the 60s. Last night, I saw something in my dreams. There was a girl.
And you are?
Sandy.
I got this kind of gift. I can see people, places, things others can't.
This is the closest most people ever get to their dreams.
They're not just dreams.
Jack, I don't want to do this.
You think you can just walk away?
They really happened.
What did you see?
Do you believe in ghosts? I want to report a murder.
You witnessed the murder last night, but you believe this was a vision from the past.
The guy that killed her is still out there. I have to stop him.
Where are you going?
I know what you did.
I've done a lot of things. You're gonna have to be more specific, love.
You can't save me.
Last Night in Soho, a young woman named Eloise is going to London to be a fashion designer at a art school. And we learned that she's raised by her grandmother because her mother suffered from mental health issues and ended up committing suicide. And the grandmother's worried that when Ellie gets to London, she might suffer the same stuff. While she's there, she does suffer from being haunted by the ghost of a young woman named Sandy. And is Sandy a victim? Possibly, as the world around her starts unraveling. And what is real and what is not real is constantly at the forefront of this film.
Yeah. It's Ryan, I'd love to hear like all the different things you enjoyed about it, because I'll go on a spiel.
I just love, I thought it was a really tight movie. I like I said, I really loved the performances in it. Anya Taylor-Joy was great. So was Matt Smith as kind of a slime ball.
Mm-hmm.
And to see Sandy kind of get lost in what she thought was going to be a great career as a singer. And when Eloise goes and sees her perform for the first time at the Rialto and realize it's kind of not like a strip show, but what are those kind of women back in the day where they, the naughty flapper girl, hot, she's voting.
Like a review or something?
Yeah, like a review. So yeah, it's not all it's cracked up to be. And it just looked really cool. Although I think Edgar Wright was a little more restrained in his visual flair in this one, there's still like really cool moments in it. When Sandy is quote unquote being murdered, I think the cuts between Eloise's horror face and the reflection of her being scared and the knife as it's being stabbed, I think is incredible. The twist at the end, spoilers, where you find out that Sandy actually never died. She's the one who did the killing. And there's little hints throughout the film that she's stuffed these corpses in her house. She mentions the smell to Eloise when she moves in. In the summer, it gets bad, but she says it's because of the French bistro. But we learn it's because there's corpses in her house. And the part where Sandy is walking up the stairs and it's kind of a glass mirror, and each step she takes, it's breaking the mirror. So it's breaking the image that Eloise had of this woman. And I just thought that was really cool. And I don't know, I really enjoyed the movie, and I thought the soundtrack was incredible.
Yeah. It's there are two things that blew me away on this film in particular. One was I don't know why I've never noticed this before, but I'm glad I noticed it now. Edgar Wright loves giving old people physically challenging things to do in movies.
Are you talking about the drop kick that one old lady got from Sean Pegg and
Yep.
Hot Fuzz?
Well, or that, or Timothy Dalton getting a tower speared through his lower jaw. There's like, because Diana Rigg gets to do some nifty stuff in this film, because we're in spoiler territory now. The late Diana Rigg plays older Sandy, but she's parading throughout most of the film as the landlady to the place that Ellie has resigned herself to live at, because the roommates that she has are fucking terrible. And watching the reveal for Diana Rigg, which I called it, but I kind of didn't care that I called twists in this movie, because I was enjoying watching it unfold and how the mystery would get solved. And watching her reveal was just wonderful. And I'm not like a Diana Rigg like fan, like by any stretch of the imagination in terms of like knowing all her work, but you could tell why people loved her to death and were mourning her when she died. She's amazing in this movie. And watching her by the very end, it was absolutely fantastic for that climax. And it has all the high energy I would want out of that ending. And watching Edgar break down nostalgia was, it was very, very wonderful to watch. As somebody who dives deep into nostalgia of like a very far time ago, I appreciate that he points out that it's not this idyllic dream, and that it carries with it a lot of baggage. And I thought that was very intelligent of him to put that in the form of this kind of movie, that the nostalgia that he points to is this idea of like the 60s and how popular that idyllic image is of that particular place in that particular time period. And I'd have to imagine it hits harder for people who live in the UK than even in the US. And seeing that kind of thing unfold. I also really liked watching him just play around with visual cues and taking stuff that he's done in films before with his snappy editing style and kind of like using it in sparing restraint. This film didn't feel like the same kind of energy that his other films have. This one felt like it was allowed to breathe a little bit more, which I really, really appreciated. And I'm glad that I'm very glad that there's like this film out there that carries with it all that pastiche of nostalgia while carrying that kind of theme running through it of the dangers of that pastiche. So I think it's not my favorite of his films. That'll still be The World's End, conceivably for all time. But this film came really, really close to knocking that out and even Baby Driver off. So I really appreciated it. And I don't know how much it made at the box office this week, but I hope to God it made a shit ton of money because I want to see this thing succeed.
Brad, you weren't quite as enamored with it. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's Edgar Wright has kind of made a career out of honoring like nostalgia. So this being a rebuke of that is kind of fascinating, but yeah, I kind of look at it. I don't really recognize his fingerprints on it. I'm trying to like, I wrote this in my Letterboxd review. I want to give a filmmaker space to grow and do different things, while also just feeling like I really miss his comedic, dynamic, really dense filmmaking of the past. So like when I watch this, I just feel like I'm watching a lot of other people's horror movies, recreated rather than seeing his own stamp on it. So I think that's, and again, like this is still a better film than most of what's in theaters, but just like from like an intense critical perspective, I'm just like, I feel like someone else could have also made this movie. So, and like the the undead at the end, or like the ghosts, just the smeared face thing wasn't like all that special, like, or interesting. It felt pretty like horror conventional.
Yeah, I read that as that it's because they didn't matter. Mm-hmm. And what they did was they didn't have the right to be more defined, and because they're just monsters and as people. But I get it too.
Yeah, I just wish there was like a more visually interesting way to convey that. That's not so. If they're ghosts, do they have to look human at all? Is there like a more a better way to express that? Maybe it's a little more abstract. And also too, like I felt like it would have been a little more interesting to tie what Ellie's going through back to her, I guess, quest for like a fashion career. Mm-hmm. I feel like it was more of a backdrop than tie it to her psyche more, like the pressure to achieve. I don't know. I feel like there's some missed opportunities in the script, story wise, that could have like made it a little more dense. But like I said, it's still like everything else about it's very specific and meticulous and well crafted more than most other movies you'll see. But and maybe in time I'll realize I'm being too critical of it and just be like, yeah, this is fine. There's more to see here. And also, like, the first time around, there's a lot to take in all at once. And even just my position in the theater, like the first time I saw it, I was sitting in the back section when like 90% of the movies I watch are in the front section. And I felt a detachment just from the space from the screen.
Sure.
To where I was like, it felt less connected. So when I watched it the second time and got into the front section, I was like, okay, I'm seeing more of the stuff I missed in the background. And like, now that I know how it's going to end, I see the foreshadowing that's happening here. So, and also like horror isn't I'm not well versed in 60s and 70s horror. So like where I see a lot of nods to Suspiria and whatnot, which I saw recently, I'm sure there's a ton of other things that I'm missing. So
there's British horror snack dab in the middle there. There's Polanski stuff in there. I think that like I was gonna point out that there's an Edgar Wright moment in there that reminded me of his usual energy, and it's when Terrence Stamp gets run over. Something seemingly unexpected happening, like in the form of a death or a collision. Like that seems to be something that he'll carry through pretty frequently. Like somebody unexpected is going to kick the bucket.
My nod to him, I was just that, it's another movie that has a British pub in it.
We're going to the Winchester.
Yeah. The zoom ins on the glasses weren't as intense this time though.
No, like I said, it's a lot of his editing tricks are there, but they get slowed down and they're allowed to be a little bit more, they're breathing more. And I feel like there's a part of me that falls in line with Brad where I'm like, yeah, I definitely want to see another comedy out of him at a certain point, but I am kind of enjoying this new Edgar Wright where he's not explicitly beholden to the things that made him a hot director. Like he is getting to stretch those legs. So I'm definitely on board for it. But that being said, the Edgar that I will always adore and cherish is the one that came up with something like The World's End. So
yeah, I'm cool with it. I mean, like I said, I really love this movie, but I also think it's cool that he's doing something else. Because this is more straightforward horror. So
yeah.
Next week we are seeing Eternals.
Mm-hmm. Chloe Zhao.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the most divisive horror Marvel film yet.
Why, Ryan? What the fanboys do now?
No, not the fan. Critically, it's the only one that's rotten, and it's like right at 60%. So it's like the critics don't know what to make of it. I'm interested. We'll see.
What's the thing with Rotten Tomatoes lately is that if the critics hate it, the fans love it, and the fans love it, the critics hate it.
Yeah. Well, they don't have, because after what movie was where they don't allow audience scores anymore unless you can verify you went to the movie? Captain Marvel. So, because people just, review bomb stuff.
Yeah.
So right now, I don't know. I mean, I still want to see it. It looks interesting.
I'll give it 2 hours and 37 minutes. Yikes.
And the countdown for Spider-Man Far From Home is happening. So I'm hoping that there's going to be a new trailer soon.
This is the length of an Avengers movie, guys. This is nuts.
That's all right. Just tell me a good story. That's all I care about.
Oh, I agree. No question about that. Is there another solo movie that has been this long?
I don't know. Well, I mean, Eternals is a team movie, so maybe that's why.
I gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, thanks for listening. See you guys next week.
Mm-hmm.
See you at the movies. Bye.
Bye.
Hi, I'm Brad. Thank you for listening to this episode of Real Nerds Podcast. Real Nerds Podcast is a production of Nebulous Visions Multimedia. Thank you to Sparks Mandrill and Plan 9 Studios for our kick-ass theme song. Also, if you're in the Denver area and you're looking for a cool place to see movies, we see them at the Alamo Drafthouse in Littleton and now also in Sloan's Lake. Thank you to Colorado Coins, Cards, and Comics for supplying us with all our comic needs, especially you, Andrew. You know who you are. And a big shout out to James's mom. I'm giving you an electronic hug that you can feel through the airwaves. Thanks for listening, and have a nice day.